Time for Time Force.
This is my first time doing this.
HyperForce, blue, ready, power up.
Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd. I am back from Power Morphicon. Had a wonderful weekend there. For those that don't know, Power Morphicon is the Power Rangers convention that happens every couple of years. This was my 5th time going, I believe. I've been going since 2010, every 2 years. And it's always been a blast, but this year was especially special for me, which I'll get into in a little bit. I just wanted to talk about my experience there. Hasbro had their toy panel, because this was the first Power Morphicon since the Hasbro purchase of Power Rangers franchise. They didn't really show a whole lot because obviously they're still in the works. It's just happened not too long ago, but they were at least able to announce this Lightning collection that they're going to be doing, which is going to be an anthology series of Power Ranger figures. So not an entire team of Power Rangers, but various Power Rangers throughout the 25-year history. They're starting with the White Ranger from Mighty Morphin. It's going to have the helmet head, and you can also swap it out for a human head, which is going to be photorealistic, digitally recreating a face for that, which I think is pretty cool, actually. That's awesome that they're able to use technology in that way to get the most photorealistic face possible on these figures. You're getting all the weapons, all the accessories, everything is going to be included. It's not going to be steroid buff figures, but actually more accurate to the people themselves, and it's going to be the same price as the Legacy figures, which is so awesome. $19.99 for all of that. It's gonna be really cool. They also announced some Funko figures, including a Lord Dragon Funko that's gonna be coming out. They announced in Legacy Wars that Jack D. Thomas, Paulie, the Yellow Ranger from Power Rangers HyperForce, is going to be a playable character in Legacy Wars. That's gonna be coming up in like October, November time frame. That's really awesome. The first HyperForce Ranger to be in Legacy Wars is a big deal. After that was the Super Ninja Steel panel, which I had the honor of hosting, which is really awesome. Thank you, Hasbro and former Saban people and Nickelodeon for having me be a part of that, hosting that. That was actually my first time meeting the entire cast. Chiplin was there and was talking about his experience. I also got to meet Chris Reed and Kella Bennett, Victor and Monty, on the show. They weren't on the panel, but I got to meet them at Power Morphicon, so that was really cool. Got to see bloopers from their filming on the show. We got to see a trailer for that 25th anniversary special episode that's coming up on August 28th, which is now officially National Power Rangers Day. Take off from work or school and go celebrate your Power Rangers history. It's a national holiday. On Power Rangers Day, they're doing a special episode that they're airing in prime time where it's going to feature former Rangers. They showed the entire list of Rangers to let you know who all the Rangers are that are going to be in the special. They also even have a clip that's out there now where you can see like a little 1-minute clip of the episode. So I'm really excited about that. Really awesome to do that panel. It was awesome to meet that cast. It was awesome to have Kelson Henderson come on and talk about his experience of putting on a Red Ranger suit for Ninja Steel. So it was just so cool. The next Power Ranger series, Beast Morphers, they showed the cast of that. That's kind of a Power Morphicon tradition. You meet the new cast of the new series at the convention, and they did that this year. So we got our red, blue, and yellow Ranger for Power Rangers Beast Morphers. New black leader of the Power Rangers. Got a trailer for the new series, which is very cool and exciting. Something about a cyber digital world and a computer virus. It's not Venjix, but it sounds pretty close to Venjix. I got to try out that Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid board game. If you want to see the full video of that, that's on HyperRPG. But Peter and I played it for a round, and then Megan and Christina from HyperForce also played it in a separate video. But that was a fun game, man. There's a lot of strategy to that game. I think it's more of like a tower defense type game because you have 4 different sections of Angel Grove that you have to protect from putties, super putties, monsters, and things like that. And in case you didn't know, one of the expansion packs is a Shattered Grid expansion pack, which will have HyperForce Power Rangers in it. So I'm gonna have a HyperForce minifig coming out in this Heroes of the Grid board game. Speaking of figures, Daryl Walls of, I got his Twitter handle right here, D Walls Epic Hauls, made me this. Look at that. It's an Eddie Funko Pop. Oh, it's so nice. There's me on the back. So it's official. He basically took T'Challa's head from a Black Panther pop, put some glasses on it to represent me directly, and then painted a blue HyperForce suit. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. And then at Mike Perry's on Twitter drew me this. It's an Eddie drawing. Look at Eddie. Yeah! Thank you so much. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into a little bit. Usually when I go to Power Morphicon, I usually go as press. I try to do a bunch of interviews or shoot a bunch of things there to give you the Power Morphicon experience at home. This year was a little bit different. This was the first time I'd ever been to Power Morphicon since doing Power Rangers HyperForce. First time there as a HyperForce Ranger, being a part of that series, and it was my first time being an official guest. They even made like a Power Rangers, Power Morphicon placard for me. And I have to say, man, I was not expecting any kind of, you know, extra fanfare as a result of that. I was just planning on going to Power Morphicon. I knew I was hosting Super Ninja Steel's panel. I knew we were going to have a HyperForce panel where the cast got to talk about their experience and answer questions. I did not realize how many people were going to come up to me and talk to me or fan out and all this kind of stuff, geek out about me being on Power Rangers HyperForce in the same vein they were doing to the other Rangers there for being on Power Rangers. It was very surreal for me, and it's gonna feel like a humble brag, so I'm sorry in that sense, but at the same time, it was actually really cool that it happened, and I was just humbled and floored by it because I always saw myself as just, hey, I'm just a guy doing the show. You know, I didn't go through 5 rounds of training. I didn't go take a kung fu class or karate class. You know, I didn't learn any special moves. I didn't get in shape. I didn't fly to New Zealand to become a Power Ranger. I just got asked to do this fun RPG show, and I was like, cool, that sounds like fun. I want to do more tabletop games, and doing one in the Power Rangers universe was an amazing opportunity, and I was all about it. But I just still looked at it as a fun thing to do with Hyper RPG and Saban. And just the way that people were talking to me and talking about the show in itself, just showing how much appreciation they had for the show, whether they were watching it live or watching it on demand, because all the episodes are now up on YouTube. Some people were listening to it on iTunes or Spotify because it's available there in audio form. Just the way that people were really embracing the series the same way that they were embracing other Power Rangers series was just, it just meant a lot to me. And it was very, like I said, it was just very surreal. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I think the quintessential moment, which was caught on camera, was I was walking around the convention and someone from the staff stopped me and was like, Andre, you need to go on stage. You're supposed to be part of this panel. And I was like, what panel? I did all the panels that I thought I was doing. It's like, no, we want you on the Blue Ranger panel. So they brought me into the room and I got to be on the panel with all the other Blue Rangers from the legacy of Power Rangers, and we got to answer questions. People were asking me questions specifically about HyperForce and things like that, as well as asking the other Rangers about their experiences with Power Rangers, which again, I was just like, what is happening right now? And then, right before we were about to end the panel, they were like, everyone do your morph. And so I had to do my Blue Ranger HyperForce morph alongside the other Blue Rangers. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening right now.
Time for Time Force.
This is my first time doing this.
HyperForce, blue, ready, power up.
The way I was talking to people, it was really neat to see how much they liked the show, and also in their eyes, this was the closest that they were seeing to a fan, me, becoming a Ranger, treating me like a Ranger. Even other Rangers were doing this, you know? Obviously, there's been people like Peter and Yoshi who were fans of Power Rangers that become Power Rangers on the show. But for me, a clearly older than most Power Rangers of today, not in Power Ranger fit shape, just being someone who just loves the franchise, you know, to have this opportunity to basically be the Blue Ranger of a Power Ranger team and of an original Power Ranger team, and the way that people were responding to that, it just, I just don't know what to say, man. It just was something where I just wanted to just thank everyone constantly. It was like, it just meant a lot to me. I mean, I love this franchise, and I've said before, like, I haven't seen every single episode of Power Rangers, or some seasons I know more than others, but it's always been a franchise I've appreciated for its positivity, for its diversity, for its energy, for the way that they're able to get people to talk about it from its American counterparts, and people to talk about it from its original Super Sentai footage, and the differences here and there. There's just so much of a library and legacy to this franchise, one that has been around for 25 years now, and 25 continuous years, and it has such a strong and dedicated fan base to go with it. Some people really strong and really dedicated, but it's always been something that has been, for the most part, been a fun fandom to be a part of. And to now have this extension to it, it just was very sweet. And I can't thank people enough for the way that they treated HyperForce in general, the cast members in general, and me specifically that weekend at Power Morphicon. I mean, that is probably the closest I'll ever be to feeling like a actual Power Ranger, and that's how you made me feel. Thank you. That's really all I have to say. Just thank you so much. That will be without a doubt a highlight of life. It was one of those things that made me so happy. There were times where I was just grinning ear to ear. You can probably see it in some of the photos that I took. There were times where I was about to cry. There were times where I was feeling like self-conscious even a little bit, where I was like, do I deserve this? It just was really humbling, and it just I felt the love. I felt the love for HyperForce. I felt the love for me, and it was just really cool. And it was just an experience I'll never forget. And I just really thank you all. And let me just say, man, as cool as that is, in my eyes, when you're Ranger fam, we're all Rangers. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're all family in this world. Power Rangers is a very, very specific franchise that, you know, there are some franchises that people dabble in or have nostalgia for, and Power Rangers is one of those. But there is definitely a circle of, you know, we are the Ranger Nation, you know what I mean? So for all of you that are a part of that or feel a part of that, know that I respect you for that the same way that you respect me for being a part of HyperForce. And I just thank you. And I know a lot of people have been asking, what about that season 2? I'm hoping it's happening. Nothing has been officially announced. Nothing's been told to us, but we're all keeping our fingers and toes and everything else crossed in hopes that it happens. Hasbro, what's up? I know there's some people out there that's all like, I don't know, is that from Sentai? So does that mean it's canon? I don't know. I don't know if I could count as official Ranger. Believe what you want to believe, it's fine, but it is part of Power Rangers as far as the franchise is concerned, just like the video games like Legacy Wars or the toys and everything else. So, you know, I just say, if you don't want to put it side by side, that's cool. But, you know, it's part of Power Rangers, and I just really appreciate that people wanted to share that when I was there. So yeah, like I said, a little bit of a humble brag, but also just a heartfelt thank you of just, I just really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it, man. You know, and particularly for that to happen right now, you know, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but you know, there's some things in my career life and some things in my personal life that, I'll be honest, is not 100%. So I think to have this moment happen just kind of put some things in perspective for me, as well as just gave me that time to just enjoy this. And all I ask is that the way you support HyperForce, keep supporting it, keep using that hashtag HyperForce and hashtag HyperForce Season 2 in hopes that it happens. And support the people that made it. Support HyperRPG. They worked really hard in putting that show together, and they're still doing lots of cool tabletop RPGs. Some of them I've even guest starred in on their channel, so check them out. Thank you. That's all I have to say. That's a lot that I've said, I'm sure. It's a long video, but that's what I want to say. Thank you so much. If you have not seen Power Rangers HyperForce, like I said, the entire series is available on YouTube. I'm going to have some more Power Ranger stuff coming up because of Power Rangers Day and the new special and everything like that. And some toys I got, of course, because you can't talk about Power Rangers without talking about toys. Thank you all, and if you like what I do here, you know, if you haven't subscribed already, I would really appreciate it. Let's keep that sub count going. Thank you very much. I love you like a play cousin. I'm out of 5,000. May the power protect you. It's morphin' time. HyperForce, blue, ready, power up.